Hello, everyone. I want to take the time to thank my first subscriber here. Thank you for listening to my stories. And as always, dream beautifully, everyone. Now, let's begin.
For once, there was no one chasing them. No alarms. No weapons. Just two sisters trying to find somewhere safe. Until everything suddenly changed. Today's story is The Rush. Episode 3. The morning air was cold. Not the kind of cold that made someone shiver. The kind that settled into tired bones. Sister and Nikki stepped carefully through the abandoned train yard. The rusted tracks stretching for miles beneath a pale sunrise. Old freight cars sat forgotten beside broken warehouses, their faded paint peeling beneath years of rain and neglect. Neither sister spoke. For once, silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was needed. They had barely escaped SAGOI. They had lost their mother again, left their uncle behind, and learned more about their father in one night than they had in 20 years. It was too much, even for them. Sister adjusted the backpack over her shoulder, glancing toward Nikki. "You all right?" Sister asked. Nikki smiled gently, the same smile she always gave, the one that tried to convince everyone else she was okay. "I'm fine," she replied. Sister wasn't convinced. She had spent her whole life reading Nikki's face. That smile was hiding something. "You sure?" Nikki nodded. "Just tired." Sister wanted to ask more. Instead, she simply nodded. "Let's find somewhere safe before it gets busy." Nikki nodded and moved slightly behind Sister. The city was beginning to wake. Cars could be heard in the distance. Trains groaned somewhere beyond the warehouses. People would be arriving for work soon. The fewer eyes that saw them, the better. They walked for nearly an hour. Their clothes were dirty. Their shoes were soaked. Neither of them had eaten since leaving their mother's house. Nikki rubbed her stomach as it growled. "I'm starting to think those vending machine chips Dad used to buy were 5-star meals." Sister couldn't help but smile. "I remember you always wanted the barbecue ones. They were the best. They tasted like cardboard to me. They tasted like happiness, with a hint of sugar." Sister laughed quietly. "There she is." "What?" "The little sister I know. Miss Chef Boyardee." Nikki smiled. Happier this time. "I never left." For a brief moment, it almost felt normal. Almost. Then, without warning, Nikki stumbled. Sister reached out instinctively. "Nikki." "I'm okay," Nikki said shakily. She took another step. Her breathing rasped. Then another step. Before her eyelids fluttered. Then the world suddenly tilted beneath her. "Nikki!" Sister screamed out. Nikki's knees buckled beneath her. Sister moved quickly and caught her before she hit the pavement. "Nikki!" She yelled out to her, as she shook her shoulder to wake her. Nikki's breathing became uneven and gaspy. "Nikki! Nikki's, look at me." No answer. "Nikki!" Suddenly, Nikki's body jerked violently. A sharp gasp escaped her lips as another convulsion shook her entire body. Sister's heart stopped. Panic filled her as she's witnessing what's happening. "No!" Sister yelled out desperately. She lowered Nikki carefully onto the cracked pavement, remembering the first aid lessons their father had taught them years ago. "Stay with me, Nikki." Sister rolled Nikki onto her side, looking her over to see if she was spitting up. Seeing nothing, she gently patted Nikki's back. "It's okay. You'll be okay," Sister whispered, before another violent seizure rippled through Nikki's body. Sister looked around frantically. "No. What's wrong?" "There has to be something." She checked Nikki's pulse. It was racing. Fast. Too fast. "Nikki!" Panic crept into Sister's voice. This wasn't exhaustion. This wasn't from running. This had never happened before. Ever. "Nikki, please." Then, Something impossible happened. Pebbles near Nikki's hand lifted from the ground. Sister froze. One rock. Then another. Soon dozens of small stones floated around Nikki, gently circling her body. The cracked pavement trembled. Dust rose into the air. Loose pieces of concrete hovered, as though gravity had forgotten they existed. Sister slowly stood looking around. What? The floating rubble continued to rise. Metal scraps. Broken glass. Even an old rusted pipe lifted several inches into the air. Everything surrounded Nikki like an invisible storm. Nikki. Sister hovered over Nikki in confusion on what to do. A painful cry escaped Nikki as the floating debris shook around violently. Sister instinctively stepped in between Nikki and the rising rubble, unsure what she was protecting her from, or if she even could. She remembered the folder from earlier. From Uncle Phyllis. The files, where are they? Sister searched around and spotted them nearby. She quickly dropped to one knee and opened her backpack with trembling hands, flipping through each page while they floated in midair. Folders. Research notes. Damn it, not maps. She continued flipping through the folders. Old photographs. No. She flipped through page after page, until she landed on a page that said, Special and Gifted Order Investigators, Classified Pages. Restricted for designated SAGOI personnels only. She hurried and skimmed the pages. Power classifications. Subject reports. Blood analyses. Nothing. Nikki. Sister spoke worriedly, while Nikki had another convulsion. Hang on. She searched faster. Papers scattered across the ground before floating. A loose page slipped free, folded differently than the rest. Then she saw it. Her father's handwriting. Sister stopped. Hey, Dad. Across the top of the page were 4 words. If you're reading this. Her breathing caught. Then I'm sorry. Sister stared. It was the first thing she had ever read something that felt like her father was speaking directly to her. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the page. Nikki. She looked back. Nikki's body shook again. I'll help you. She looked down. I promise. The first few pages made little sense. Scientific notes. Observations. Diagrams. Showing experiments after experiments that her father was a part of. But then, one sentence caught her attention. Her father's handwriting. Subject 2 possesses an unprecedented neurological resonance. Sister frowned. What does that even mean? She continued reading. Unlike other gifted individuals, her ability extends beyond physical healing. Sister's eyes widened. She turned the page. More handwritten notes. Crossed out theories. Questions. Corrections. Then, one line circled several times. She is a transmitter. Sister whispered the word aloud. A transmitter. She didn't understand. She kept reading quickly. Her father's handwriting became more rushed, almost frantic. Her mind naturally connects with others who possess gifted abilities if nearby. Sister's stomach tightened. Another page. When emotionally or physically exhausted. Another. Other gifted individuals may unknowingly draw upon her life energy, causing a leak of their power through her. Sister's breathing became shallow. Another violent cry escaped Nikki. Sister looked toward her. No. She looked back at the notes. The result. She swallowed. Involuntary seizures, neurological overload, and complete physical collapse. Sister felt the blood drain from her face. Is someone? She looked at Nikki. Someone's using you. The floating rocks trembled harder, as though confirming the terrifying possibility. Miles away, somewhere, someone they had never met was unknowingly healing themselves. Through Nikki. Sister dropped beside her sister again. No. No. Nikki, fight it. She gently brushed Nikki's curls away from her face. I won't let them use you. Nikki cried out weakly. Sister looked back at the pages, searching desperately. There has to be something. Please. Then, another folded note. Smaller. Different. Not scientific. At the top, her father's familiar handwriting. If this ever happens, don't panic. Sister blinked. Her father knew. He had known this day might come. Below those words, there wasn't another medical diagram. There wasn't another equation. Instead, there were lyrics. Sister stared in confusion. A song. She frowned. The caterpillar. The words unlocked a memory buried deep inside her childhood. A warm evening. Rain tapping against the windows. Their father sitting between the two girls on the living room floor. Nikki barely able to keep her eyes open. Sister pretended she was too old for bedtime songs. Their father smiling anyway. Little caterpillar, where have you been? I looked around and you were growing big. Soon one day, you will be a butterfly. Why is it fair when you will leave me behind? He had always sung it. Every single time they were afraid. Sister looked at the page. Then back at Nikki. Dad. Sister stared at the folded page. The song. After everything their father had written. After all the scientific notes. After every warning. The answer was a song. She looked from the paper back to Nikki. Her trembling violently as her eyes were rolled back. The floating rocks spun faster around her. Small pieces of rusted metal rose from the ground, circling her as if an invisible storm had surrounded them. Nikki. Sister's voice trembled. Please stay with me. She looked back at the page. Across the top, in her father's familiar handwriting, were the words, if Nikki's connection becomes unstable, don't fight her mind. Comet, remind her who and where she is. Beneath it were lyrics. Simple, childish, almost silly. Exactly the kind of song their father used to sing. Sister swallowed hard. You've got to be kidding me. She looked at Nikki. I'm sorry. She rubbed the back of her neck. You know I can't sing. A memory surfaced. Their father stood in the kitchen wearing a ridiculous apron that read World's Greatest Dad, despite the fact he'd burned dinner nearly every week. Young Nikki sat on the counter laughing. Young sister covered both ears dramatically. Dad. Their father laughed. What? You sing horrible. I do not. You scared the birds away. He placed a hand over his heart dramatically. I am deeply offended. Nikki giggled. No, you're not. Their father winked at them. You're right. Then he pointed at Sister. But one day, he smiled warmly. You're going to sing this song too. Sister crossed her arms. Nope. You will. I won't. You absolutely will. Young sister stuck her tongue out. Never, she said and ran to go play. I'd rather wrestle a bear. Their father laughed so hard, he nearly dropped the pancake he was flipping. The memory disappeared. Sister looked down at Nikki. Guess you were right. She let out a shaky breath, then looked at the page again. Softly, almost embarrassed, she began singing. Little caterpillar. She immediately cringed. Oh, that's awful. She cleared her throat. Little caterpillar. Where have you been? Another crack escaped her voice. She groaned. Nikki is going to make fun of me forever if she wakes up. She looked toward the sky. Dad, you really couldn't have left breathing exercises instead. Nothing happened. The rocks continued shaking. Sister sighed. Okay. She closed her eyes. Stopped worrying about sounding good. Stopped worrying about being embarrassed. And simply remembered. Little caterpillar. Where have you been? I looked around and you were growing big. Soon one day, you will be a butterfly. Why is it fair when you will leave me behind? Don't fear the rain. Tomorrow your wings will call your name and let you away from me. Little caterpillar, I miss you so. The words echoed softly through the empty train yard. Something changed. The floating rock slowed. The violent shaking surrounding Nikki became gentler. Sister noticed immediately. It's working. She kept singing the song repeatedly. Off key, missing half the rhythm, completely ruining the melody. But she didn't stop, because Nikki's breathing was becoming steady. The swirling debris drifted gently back toward the ground. One stone, then another, until finally, everything became still. The silence that followed was almost frightening. Sister carefully reached over. Nikki. No answer. She checked her pulse. Still fast. But better. Much better. Tears filled Sister's eyes before she realized she was crying. You scared me. She laughed quietly through the tears. You really scared me. Several minutes passed. Nikki's eyelids slowly fluttered open. The first thing she saw was Sister sitting beside her, looking exhausted, hair completely out of place, eyes red from crying. Feeling Nikki move, Sister woke immediately. Nikki. Nikki blinked. Sister. Before Sister could stop herself, she wrapped Nikki in the biggest hug she had ever given. Nikki squeaked. I can't breathe. Sister immediately let go. Sorry. Nikki rubbed her shoulder. What happened? You passed out. I did. You had a seizure. Nikki stared. I've never had one before. I know. Silence settled between them. Nikki looked around. The rocks. The broken concrete. The scattered papers. What happened here? Sister looked down at the notes. I think. She hesitated. I think your powers did it. Nikki looked confused. My powers. Sister handed her the folded page. Or rather, someone else's through you. Nikki quietly read their father's handwriting. Her expression slowly changed. A transmitter. Sister nodded. I don't fully understand it yet. She sat beside her. But Dad believed you can get connected to other people like us. Nikki frowned. So, when you overuse your powers. Sister looked away. Other gifted people might accidentally pull energy from you. Nikki stared. Without knowing. I think so. The realization settled over both sisters. Somewhere, someone had just survived. Because Nikki paid the price. Nikki looked down at her hands. So, my powers, they're bigger than healing. Sister nodded. I think they're much bigger. Nikki became quiet. I don't like that. Sister smiled sadly. I figured. Nikki looked at Sister. You sang. Sister froze. What? You sang. No, I didn't. You absolutely did. I spoke rhythmically. Nikki burst into laughter. You sang. I absolutely did not. You sounded like a dying goose. Sister gasped dramatically before standing. I'll have you know. She pointed proudly at herself. Your life was saved by this beautiful voice. Nikki laughed harder. It was terrible. It was heroic. It was terrible, I heard it. It was hero-ic. Fine, it was both, but still terrible. The sisters looked at each other. Then laughed a bit. Glad you're feeling better. The sound traffic in the distance echoed across the empty train yard. A small reminder that despite everything, they still had each other. As the laughter faded, Sister carefully gathered the scattered papers from their Uncle Phil's folder. She stopped when she noticed another handwritten note tucked between the pages. Only a single sentence had been written. Never stay in one place after an episode. They'll find her. Sister's smile disappeared. She folded the note carefully. Nikki. Sister spoke firmly. Her sister looked up at her. We need to move. Nikki immediately understood. They'll know. I don't know how. Sister placed the folder back into her bag. But Dad wouldn't have written it if it wasn't true. Nikki slowly stood. Her legs were still shaky. Sister immediately offered her arm to assist with carrying her. Nikki accepted without arguing. They started slowly walking to another unknown destination, another place for them to hide. Meanwhile, neither of them noticed. High above the city, a satellite dish slowly rotated in their direction. Deep beneath it was SAGOI headquarters, with a monitor flickering to life. A technician frowned. Sir. The commander walked over. What is it? The technician stared at the screen. We just detected another resonance. The commander's expression darkened. Subject 2. The technician nodded. Yes. The commander smiled. So. He folded his hands behind his back. She's beginning to awaken. He looked at another monitor, displaying the sisters' last known location. Find them. Now. The room filled with movement as agents rushed to carry out the order. Far away, completely unaware, Sister tightened her grip on Nikki's hand. Whatever came next, they would face it together. This concludes episode 3. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to tune back in next week, where more stories and continuations will be added. Remember, every story begins with a dream and grows from an imagination. Dream beautifully, everyone.